Hey guys, it's Chris and I'm back with another Mandalorian video, and this time of course we're talking about Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 6, Chapter 14, The Tragedy. Alright, let's jump right into it. Love this episode, outstanding episode, probably the shortest of the season I believe, but one of the best by far. We had Boba Fett return. We were all wondering when they were going to wrap up that storyline. Looks like we're going to get him a little bit more. It was definitely an action-packed episode from start to finish, except for the very beginning, obviously. And you knew you had that tension. That's what I was talking about in storytelling all the time with all these writing videos. And these type of things are just a sign of great writing because you know it's so quiet and peaceful in the beginning. You know, him and Baby Yoda are alone. I'm sorry, Yogurt, Grogu. It's going to take a while to get used to that. So anyway, we open up and he's still kind of practicing with the Baby Yoda with the little ball and everything. And it's kind of cute, you know, he's being that father figure. He even says something to the effect of, you know, I can't train you, you're too powerful, but we're going to find you a Jedi and get you trained up. I know a lot of people want him to train him for some reason, but he can't possibly train a Jedi. He is not force sensitive. He's not going to be force sensitive, so that's just not going to be a thing. But we'll see if he stays with him or not in the end. We'll see what happens. But anyway, so they approach Tython. So no filler episodes, straight to Tython. You know, nothing where they had to stop by somewhere else first or whatever. They approached Tython. Tython looked great, by the way. I was just a slight bit disappointed that they did not show the moons of Tython, Ashla and Bogan, the original name for the dark side and light side of the Force, as I mentioned before. Tython is huge in Jedi lore or Star Wars lore in general. It was the first place where all Force sensitives came together in the galaxy to figure out what the hell the Force was. It's a Force sensitive planet itself, and they've changed a lot of the canon over time and kind of watered it down in my opinion, so I don't like all the new canon and stuff. So anyway, they do find the Seeing Stone fairly quickly. Kind of a mini looking Stonehenge type place, which is fine because this is really ancient before the Jedi were the Jedi. But when he was talking to him on the ship right before they got there, you got the feeling that Grogu was really sad about, you know, possibly leaving Mando. And obviously Ahsoka brought that up last week about his fear and she can't train him because she's seen what happens before with this whole dark side thing with, speaking of Anakin Skywalker, directly representing him. Anyway, we see them land, everything's cool, everything's quiet, and you know there's something wrong when everything's quiet all the time, and that's that tension I was talking about in storytelling, just a sign of great writing because you know something's about to go wrong. You can feel it coming, and sure enough, we see Slave One, the iconic Slave One ship, come flying into the atmosphere, being Boba Fett. And then when it seems Baby Yoda doesn't want anything to do with the stone, he don't really care, all of a sudden he starts touching it and you see him reach out through the Force and we see this literal Force field that Mando can't get through. So he has to go deal with Boba Fett. Turns out he wants his armor back. So they have a bit of a standoff as we expected, and it turns out Fennec Shand is still alive. This is the Imperial sharpshooter from last season that we saw Boba Fett approaching when we just saw the shot of his boots. So he in fact saved her life and now she's in debt to him. So they're working together as a team. So they kind of work out a deal and decide to work together. Now, one thing I did have a slight problem with, it's not a big deal, so don't get me wrong, I'm not really complaining. Just to point this out really, is that they've now kind of retconned again and made Jango a technical Mandalorian because he said he fought in the Purge of Mandalore, even though it's been stated before by George Lucas himself and actually in the Clone Wars, etc., that Jango Fett was just a common bounty hunter and they had no idea how he got his armor. But now they've kind of retconned it a bit, kind of made Jango a Mandalorian. So anyway, next the tracking device comes into play and they had it on Mando's ship, the Razor Crest. And this was kind of a sad moment for me. The Razor Crest got blown the fuck up. We see the two Imperial transports come down. Now, this is pretty interesting. These are the same transports that was used in Episode 7 when Kylo Ren and the Stormtroopers first came down in the very opening scene. So we're getting into First Order territory, as we said last week, where they keep representing the new era and things like that. So these are the same models at least. And of course, Moff Gideon's light cruiser, as I mentioned last week as well, is, you know, more in the design of the First Order. And then we saw Boba Fett come into action. Of course, Mando up there, he's trying to get into the Force field to save Baby Yoda. I'm sorry, Yogurt, Grogu. Damn it, this is going to take a minute. This is going to take some time. Baby Yoda is just natural. It kind of flows off the tongue now, and Grogu is still a little odd, and I don't know. So maybe we'll find some middle ground with Yogurt. We'll see. Anyway, Boba Fett goes into action and pulls out his Tusken staff and beats that ass. I really love not only that he's a badass fighter, of course we kind of knew that, but we got to see him in action, but I really liked how they showed the Stormtrooper's armor shattering. I mean, that was really, really cool. As usual, being a youngling or whatever, 50-year-old youngling, Baby Yoda gets weak after he finishes using the Force or whatever to reach out through the Force. We'll see if anybody shows up, next episode in that area. And, of course, he's weak as the Dark Troopers come down from the sky. These are what we saw earlier with Moff Gideon, so it does kind of confirm these were the first-generation Dark Troopers. Again, the timeline doesn't quite fit there with Dark Troopers. This is way after Palpatine had already shut that shit down, but that's fine. It is what it is. We can't say that they didn't have a lot left over or whatever that can still be used, and this is technically not the Empire anymore. So we'll see if Moff Gideon's working with Throne or he's working on his own or whatever. But there seems to be already a plan going into place, going back to the cloning stuff we saw last episode. It seems to me there's already a plan of the formation of the First Order. One of the badass scenes, of course, is Boba Fett disappeared for just a few minutes, just long enough after he beat the Stormtroopers' asses. He saw his armor and he put that shit on. So in this episode, we didn't see Din doing a whole lot, but we damn sure saw Boba Fett in his armor. The first time we really saw him do anything of consequence, so to speak, in his armor, using all the weapons like he had never taken it off or whatever. It was really, really cool to see all the different things he used. Now, I was curious where he got that one missile because he had his classic-looking missile in his backpack. Anyway, but the point being, they get away with Baby Yogurt. So that was, in fact, the tragedy, I believe, or that title could be hinting at something bigger overall, maybe the tragedy of the fall of, Yogurt. I don't know. We'll see, but it was a tragedy in and of itself. But, of course, that sets up kind of a team up here. So we're going to have Boba Fett and Fennec join up with Mando to go get Baby Yoda back because they made this deal. They were not able to save the child or whatever, so they're going to be together for a while. And of course, he needed a ride anyway because the Razor Crest got blown to hell. So he hitches a ride on Slave One and goes back to see Cara Dune, who is in fact now a part of the New Republic. She kept this badge that he left and made her a marshal. And then goes to Cara because he needs to bust out Bill Burr's character from last season so they can go rescue Baby Yoda. I'm sorry, Grogu. It's Grogu. His name is Grogu. Then at the very end, we see Baby Yoda on the Star Destroyer. Moff Gideon walks in. Baby Yoda's throwing these stormtroopers around like rag dolls. He's choking them and all this kind of stuff. And I saw a couple videos earlier of people saying, this could be the dark side. He's turning to the dark side. No, not really. That doesn't mean he's turning to the dark side. Now, yes, Force Choke is sometimes considered a dark side power. Remember, Luke used this in Return of the Jedi to the 2 Gamorrean guards. So, I mean, anybody that's approaching you trying to put handcuffs on you and stuff, you have the right to defend yourself. So just because he was throwing stormtroopers around and choking them and shit doesn't mean he's using the dark side. I mean, maybe tapping into it or whatever, who knows. So it doesn't mean he's going to fall to the dark side, but it also doesn't mean he won't fall to the dark side because this is called the tragedy. But Moff Gideon comes up after he was, of course, weakened, and he pulls out Darksaber and says, you've seen one of these before. Now he's talking about lightsabers in general, and of course Baby Yoda tries to reach for it. He does recognize it. Obviously he's been in Jedi training. But of course this ends with them stunning Grogu, kind of a callback to A New Hope. Put it on stun just like they did Princess Leia. And Moff Gideon tells her to go contact the cloner and say, we have our specimen. So now they have Baby Yoda back. Now they have Grogu back. So they can start this whole thing again, trying to figure out Palpatine. I think that's what's working in the background. So anyway, guys, great episode. Outstanding. Boba Fett is back, and it's really cool to see him in action. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below, and click right over here for more videos, or you can also click right over here for more videos. Please check that out, and if you dig what I do here, please give these videos a like, comment, and a share. And of course, be sure to subscribe to get everything. We're trying to kind of reverse this whole trend of losing subscribers and head back towards 100K. And of course, click that notification bell twice so you're notified when I drop a new video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.